Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and being a producer of Wrestle Massacre as well as Inside Movies Galore, I am David Strege, and welcome to Delusions of Grandeur. Enjoy the reviews. I certainly did.
Okay, Dave, that's it. Screw you and your college flunkies. I've had enough of this from you and from everyone else. I know what you guys are trying to do. Break me down, drive me out of the force. Well, it's going to take a hell of a lot more than a lame prank like this to get Curtis Mooney to throw in his badge, so fuck you. Over.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another What's in My Room episode. This is Delusions of Grandeur. I am David Strege, and here I'm going to show you some of the films that are within my collection that start with the letter R. And the first one up, I have not entirely put these A to Z, but the first one up was a Blu-ray combo a thing that was being sold online called Rotten Tale, and it's based on a graphic comic book, and it stars one of the guys that was believe his name. Let's see if I can see it in here. All right, so Corin Namick is the name of the guy who played Harold in The Stand, and he plays Peter Cotton, who is bitten by a mutant rabbit and changes into a half-man, half-bunny Rottentail. What's a boy to do? Why take a hippity-hoppity trip home, of course. Peter begins a bloody killing spree of revenge that culminates in his childhood home of Easter Falls. So this was an Easter movie, and it starred also William McNamara, Dominic Swain, and was directed by Brian Skiba, with Skiba Vision and Source Point Press. But there we go, Rotten Tale. That was a funny film. Next, I have the Criterion Collection, a version of Rosemary's Baby, which was directed by Roman Polanski, I believe. Or actually, this says it's a William Castle production. But I thought it was directed by Roman Polanski. It was, yeah, it was directed by Roman Polanski, but William Castle, one of my all-time favorite directors of like all time. He directed this. Well, he didn't direct it, but his name's all over it. But Rosemary's Baby is kind of a classic film, horrifying and darkly comic. Rosemary's Baby was Roman Polanski's Hollywood debut. This wildly entertaining nightmare, faithfully adapted from Ira Levin's bestseller, stars a revelatory Mia Farrow as a young mother-to-be who grows increasingly suspicious that her over-friendly elderly neighbors, played by Sidney Blackmer, and an Oscar-winning Ruth Gordon, and self-involved husband, John Cassavetes, are hatching a satanic plot against her and her baby. In the decades of occult cinema that Polanski's ungodly masterpiece has spawned, it has never been outdone for sheer psychological terror. So, I'm looking forward to checking out the extras on this Criterion collection DVD. I used to have, I think, the original DVD, and I upgraded to the Criterion DVD. I don't need a Blu-ray for that. Next, I have from Scorpion releasing Robot Holocaust. This was written and directed by Thomas Kincaid with Wizard Video and Tyson Entertainment. It's got some extras on here, so I thought this was kind of cool. Picked it up from Ronin Flicks. Next, I have my upgrade to Blu-ray with the new RoboCop, and this was directed by Jose Padilla, and it's with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Pictures and Columbia Pictures, with Strike Entertainment. Joel Kinnaman, Gary Oldman, Michael Keaton, Abby Cornish, Jackie Earle Haley, Michael K. Williams, Jennifer L. Jay Baruchel, and Samuel L. Jackson all star in this film. Next, I have the Arrow Limited version of RoboCop, the original, and this was directed by Paul Verhoeven. And this has got the director's cut, the theatrical cut. It's got all kinds of extras on here. It has a cool poster. It has a cool thick book here, probably dealing with the history of how it got made and all that jazz. Look at that. That's a thick ass book. But yeah, that was a very interesting copy to end up picking up from a friend of mine. Thanks, Tito. Next, I have the Steelbook copy. It's got the director's cut and the theatrical cut on here, and that's of RoboCop. It's a cool addition to have too. A little bit different cover for RoboCop. Seems to have some similar things on here, just like the limited edition version. Next, I have a cartoon, Robin Hood and His Merry Mouse original movie, Tom and Jerry. And that is directed by Spike Brandt and Tony Carvone. But I also have I know I have it here, a second movie that came with this, and it says Tom and Jerry Shiver Me Whiskers as well, which came as a bonus in here. So glad that I picked this copy up of Robin Hood for the sake of having it. I love the things dealing with Robin Hood and his merry men. Next, I have the Olive Films Blu-ray of the doc. Almost, I think this is a documentary movie of Roar. This was a very controversial movie. No animals were harmed in the making of this film. 70 cast and crew members were there. And this has been titled as the most dangerous movie ever made, with Tippi Hedren and Melanie Griffith in here. Produced over the course of 10 years, Roar is an audacious cinematic experience, a thriller showcasing the majesty and ferocity of African lions, filmed on location amidst dozens of actual untrained cats. Photographed by Jan de Bont, DP of Die Hard and director of Speed. The result is a spectacular achievement. Though often terrifying to watch, as actors, not stuntmen, flee, wrestle, and come face to face with the massive hunters. Writer-director Noel Marsh stars as Hank, a doctor and outspoken naturalist in Africa, who allows lions, tigers, cheetahs, and other big cats to roam freely around his remote estate. While away protecting animals from poachers, Hank's family, including Marshall's real-life wife and daughter, Tippi Hedren from The Birds, and Melanie Griffith from Working Girl, arrive at his home and are stalked by the massive lions that have overrun the house. Not surprisingly, many members of the cast and crew suffered injuries during the making of the film, though care was taken to ensure that no animals were harmed. Since filming Roar, Hedren has become an advocate for the protection of big cats, founding the Roar Foundation and the Shambhala Preserve. So there we have Roar. Next I have Rhodey. I have not even opened this up. And it's directed by Zalman King. It's from 1980. Bands made it rock, but Rhodey's made it roll. Meatloaf stars in this rollicking road film, featuring incredible live performances by Alice Cooper, Blondie, Roy Orbison, Hank Williams Jr., and Asleep at the Wheel. So there we have Rhodey. Next I have a film from O-Net Gaming Productions with Beard in Charge by director Tyler Am. He's from Illinois. And this is River City Panic. In a small town where rumors spread like the plague, 6 friends decide to forego their typical weekend routine to watching bad movies for a night out on the town. Soon news of a city's official's disappearance causes the mayor to enact a citywide lockdown, driving citizens to strange and unusual behavior. As the rumor mill grows, the whole town goes mad. Suddenly it is up to our gang to find out what's really going on and save their own asses before the panic takes over. River City Panic. So this is a copy of Rites of Spring. It's directed by Padraig Reynolds. And this is put out by IFC Midnight Productions with Red Planet Entertainment, White Rock Lake Productions, and Vigilante Entertainment. It's part of the NPI Media Group. So the tagline, and well, fear has a season. Next, I have Jeff Fahey in Riot on 42nd Street, and a film called Bad Girls Dormitory. Too young for maximum security, too dangerous for juvenile hall. And this is part of Maria's B-Movie Mayhem. And it's hosted by Maria Kanellis. This says it's a double bill of grindhouse action, both directed by Tim Kincaid of Breeders. First up is the 1987 classic Riot on 42nd Street, starring Jeff Fahey, is a gritty New York cop who is caught between two rival nightclub owners battling for the 42nd Street turf. Grindhouse martial arts star Ron Van Cleef co-stars. Also on the same program is Bad Girls Dormitory, a seedy look at an all-women prison in New York City. Francis Rains and Rick Gianassi star. So the same person who directed that Robot Holocaust directed these two films. Next I have the Ringu Anthology, which apparently these are the 4 films that inspired The Ring. So first I have Ringu, Ringu 2, Ringu O, and Rosin. So those 4 films are on that set. Next I have Richard Pryor, triple feature in See No Evil, Hear No Evil, Stir Crazy, and The Toy. I put that under R because it says Richard Pryor, triple feature on the side. Next I have Revolt of the Empire of the Apes. This is a film that was produced by David Sterling and directed by Mark Polonia. And if you see on the back, it's signed by David Sterling. Next I have a film that's directed by Sam Furstenberg. It stars Sho Kozugi in Revenge of the Ninja. Next I have an unearthed film that is directed by Anthony Matthews, and it's called Revenge is Her Middle Name. Next I have Fuad Mikati's directed film called Return to Sender with Rosamund Pike, Shiloh Fernandez, and Nick Nolte. Nick Nolte looks like he's getting old. Next I have Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bridget Nielsen in Red Sonja. And this is directed by Richard Flesher. I have not exactly seen that one. Here is a short film from Chibi's Films Productions, and it's directed by Derek Brash and Anthony Cooney put together. And T-Nasty Productions is Anthony Cooney's production company, and Chibi's Films is Derek Brash's company. And this is a film called Redder. Next I have a film called Reaper, which stars Danny Trejo and Vinnie Jones. The tagline says, "Sinners be warned." It's directed by Philip Shee. Let me stick this down here somewhere. Next I have Ready or Not, and this is a recent film. Let's see if I can figure out. Okay, so it's directed by Matt Bettinelli, and Tyler Gillette. It's kind of an interesting film. Set in an old house, playing games, just because one gets married into a family, an old family that's been around for years. Next, I have Real Steel, which this one is directed by Sean Levy, and it stars Hugh Jackman. Kind of reminds me of like Pacific Rim, or Robot Wars, or something of that nature. Next, I have Raw Meat, and this is directed by Gary Sherman, and stars Donald Pleasance, David Ladd, Norman Rossington, Sharon Gurney, and Christopher Lee. So, not sure if I've seen that one entirely. Next, I know I've got all 3 episodes of this Ravenwolf Towers. It's like a web-series that Charles Band directed. This is Ravenwolf Towers 2, Bonds of Blood. Next, I have a film called Ravenous, and it's directed by Antonio Bird. And this is an older film that stars Guy Pearce. Not old, but Guy Pearce, Robert Carlyle, and David Arquette. About cannibals and whatnot. Next, I have Stallone in Rambo, and that's directed by Sylvester Stallone himself. This was distributed by Lionsgate, and I've actually been working on watching the Rambo series all the way through. This one should be entertaining once I get around to it. And, of course, I have Rambo First Blood Part 2. And this was put out by Artisan Entertainment. And it's directed by George P. Cosmatos. It stars Sylvester Stallone. And Richard Cena, Charles Napier, Stephen Burkhoff. So, yeah. The second feature in that series. So, I think that's all the time that I have for today, folks. I'm definitely going to go on about some more films that I have in my R's and get back to you on that. So, hopefully you enjoyed my description of these films. Like and subscribe to my page if you have not. Definitely check out some of my other videos of some of my the films in my collection, and I will continue the R's at another point in time in history. Thank you so much. Enjoy, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for your time spent here on this page.
You were good, kid, real good. But as long as I'm around, you'll always be second best, see?